1962. John F. Kennedy was president. The cost of a gallon of gasoline, 28 cents. You could buy a new home for about $10,000. 1962 is also when Vernon and Leon Baker of Millsboro opened a small family hardware store.
Today, Baker's Hardware remains in the same spot on DuPont Boulevard. It's grown a bit to include Baker's Power and Turf and Baker's Rental. But as I found out during a recent visit, the decades-old family-run hardware store continues to deliver that Sussex County down-home service. Bob Ricker, owner of Baker's Hardware, is keeping family in this 61-year-old family business.
Baker's Hardware was originally started by my father-in-law in 1962, he and his brother. In 1985, my wife Teresa and I bought it from her dad.
Over the nearly 40 years since, Baker's Hardware has grown while remaining a hometown hardware store, something Bob says hasn't been easy.
We've always tried to keep it to match Millsboro. Millsboro was always a very family-oriented, a very Christian-oriented town, and we have kept it that way. Even today, and the same thing, and Millsboro today is still about the same as it's always been.
Values that are important to not only Bob, but to the people who have made Baker's Hardware their first stop when working on something around the house.
100% it's the people. It's the people that have lived here for the decades that they've lived here. They're all family-oriented people, church-oriented people, and the townspeople themselves are very, very dedicated to the town and to the different entities that are in a town, like the fire company and the different civic groups.
And whether it's fixing a leaky pipe, painting a wall, or doing a complete room overhaul, many of his regulars prefer to do it themselves because they can count on support from the Baker's Hardware staff.
Those folks you see 2 or 3 times a week. They come in and they all have different problems every time, which is the good part about being a small family-owned hardware store. It's that each time that a customer comes in, it's another opportunity to help somebody, and it's very gratifying.
That means no one in the store is a stranger, keeping things on a first-name basis.
And it's neat to know that the customers will get to know the employees really well. We've been blessed to have a lot of long-term employees who've worked for us for 20, 30 years. And the customers have gotten to know them throughout the years. And each one of our folks has one little specialty that they like to do. It may be paint, one guy may be paint, one of the girls may be barbecue stuff or something like that.
Bob and his family have worked hard to make sure they have just about everything for everyone by expanding the store over the years. The outdoor power equipment division of Baker's Hardware not only sells what homeowners and business owners need, they service it too.
We've always done work in outdoor power equipment. Over the past 20 years, my oldest son, Jacob, has expanded the outdoor power equipment into a very, very large part of the business.
Residential growth in Sussex County keeps the outdoor power equipment division busy, catering to professional landscapers and homeowners alike.
So that part of the business has been huge. That kind of sort of goes hand in hand with our rental side of the business for renting equipment, because we basically have a built-in customer base with all the landscapers that came here, and they also rent the equipment too.
Bob says it's not always easy competing with the big franchise box stores that have popped up throughout Sussex County, but he knows Baker's offers something true and genuine.
We try to specialize in service and in customer service, and we've noticed, not just over the past COVID years, but the last 15 or 20 years, that things have changed. People haven't been quite as price conscious on everything there is because the smaller businesses really have a tough time competing price-wise with larger companies. But it's the service-based aspect to it that keep bringing people back here for decades and decades and decades, because they know that when they come here, they're going to find people who are knowledgeable, they're going to find people who really care about them to make sure that their project goes well. And that goes a long ways with people.
Baker's Hardware is one of the oldest businesses in Millsboro and has been owned by the same family since the day it opened its doors in 1962. Bob says further growth is not out of the question. And as for what he thinks his father-in-law would think of what he's done with the business,
I think he'd be pretty proud. He was a wonderful, wonderful guy. He's a farmer for his whole entire life, and I think he'd be tickled.
Baker's Hardware was able to expand over the years by buying up land adjacent to the original store, but there's not much more land left. Bob says he's always keeping his eyes open for opportunities to find a piece of land in Millsboro to grow even more.
Ready to grow, just need somewhere to go.
That's right.
There you go.